See, the thing about keeping it real and being a genuinely real person is you don't rely on gimmicks or scripts or anything like that. You can just take it from the top, improvise. You don't need scripts, you don't need any lines, any special anything. You don't need anything. You could just, that's why it's so valuable, really. That's what I'm saying. You just take it with you wherever you go. Once you develop this side of yourself, it's the before and after, where before you maybe had some kind of paradigm shifts, and then you'd used some chat up line, for example, that worked for you, or even just a silly phrase that was funny at the time, in the moment was really funny, really funny, but then you just carried it with you for way too long. You beat a dead horse to death because you didn't realize that that's not your personality. Yeah, it's funny, and sometimes, yeah, there are some silly little catchphrases that you and your friends might have as an inside joke, and that's cool. The thing is, what worked yesterday doesn't necessarily work today. It doesn't mean that because it was super funny the one time that it happened, that you can just now press that button and it's going to be funny every single time. That's why you shouldn't rely on scripts. You shouldn't rely on pre-written things. Sometimes it is going to help, of course. Sometimes it's helpful to prepare yourself to do some things, or to have something pre-thought. Of course, yeah, think about what you're going to say sometimes. But at the end of the day, in a day-to-day normal conversation with normal human beings, there's no scripts involved, unless you're trying to manipulate them or maybe sell something to them or something. But when you're just interacting with people, you really turn people off if they can identify that you've got like a hidden agenda. That's what I mean. When you can develop this side of your personality where you're fully open and fully yourself and witty and quick-witted, unstifled, find as much positive as you can, you take it with you wherever you want. People would argue, oh yeah, it's so easy, just be yourself. Yeah, of course. Yeah, be yourself. Without any alcohol, without any drugs, ever. Or without any smoking, without anything. Just 100% relying on your own internal strength to prop yourself up emotionally. That's where the real challenge lies in the long run. And it's not even that hard, really. It's not that hard, because people go through real tough things and still manage to not rely on any substances to prop themselves up emotionally. I mean, this is it. If you want to be someone that stands out and is remembered, you've got to be willing to stand out. And to stand out, you've got to be willing to put yourself out there. That's just how it is. Otherwise, you're just going to be some forgetful nobody that just kind of blends in with the background noise that's in their brain, just like fades into the blur that's in people's memory. You're just kind of forgetful. It's up to you. That's why you've got to develop all these facets about your personality and develop them to a point that's, let's just say, advanced, for lack of a better word. All the facets to then be able to go anywhere in the world alone, and to be able to just, like a magic trick, like pulling the hat off your head and then pulling your personality out of the hat. You can do that at command, consistently, for forever, basically. That's when you really become the man, I think. That's when you're the man. When you can go somewhere by yourself, nobody knows you, and you start being yourself, cracking jokes, attracting attractive people, being memorable, telling good stories, and just being someone that's rememberable without relying on anything to prop you up, without relying on anything external, any externalities. Yeah, it's not that easy. You've got to be able to improvise your way through. You can't have all these lines memorized. This does help, actually, to have a few, kind of to kickstart things sometimes, but you are better off developing the side of yourself that doesn't need any pickup lines, or doesn't need to put on a fake mask or anything like that. That's why I said in another one of the videos that I made about taking off the filter and developing that side of your personality, the one that doesn't have a filter, so you don't have to judge what you're saying, and you could just go with the flow, the $1 million mouthpiece. And of course, yeah, you develop this side of yourself, become pretty solid and unshakable. Doesn't matter who you kind of talk to that tries to throw you off your game and stuff like that. Basically, you don't let things affect you emotionally. When you keep putting yourself in scenarios where you're not prepared, you don't have scripts prepared for these things that happen in day-to-day life, and you're able to just maneuver effectively in scenarios and interactions with other people. You don't get, first of all, you don't get shaken by how other people react to you. You're able to kind of just keep improvising your own way through And when you're taking off the filter, you can then have a genuine conversation, which is going to develop a deeper connection with the person, because they can tell that you're being genuine. You're not being a persona. It's like they're talking to an AI or something. And I'm able to do this effortlessly. It makes me energized. It's enjoyable. It's fun to just go out and be completely sober. Yeah, it does scare you a little bit. The nerves, they definitely real sometimes, some days more than others, you know, depending on the momentum that you carry with you. But then it does make you feel super alive, and it switches your brain on. It makes you engage, and make it an engagement is kind of addictive. Once you get used to being in a state and being engaged and expressing yourself through your personality, expressing yourself thoroughly, it's addictive, that feeling. It is kind of similar to being high on cocaine, similar. But the thing is, cocaine is much more intense and short-lasting. It's like more of a steady rise over the night, whereas cocaine is just like a super high, intense peak, a super strong rush, but then there's a crash, and you've got to maintain that peak. It slowly decreases as the night progresses. Whereas if you just go out and you're doing this type of stuff, you're gradually increasing. Like you can imagine it like a chart or a graph, where you're slowly increasing gradually, and at the end of the night is where your peak is. But it's incomparable. Imagine the next day, no hangover, no hole in your wallet. You take the reference experiences with you. You're actually making an effort to improve yourself, which also makes you feel good. There's just countless benefits. If you put the work in and you do the reps, you put the effort in, eventually you get to a point where that is who you are, and then you can just carry this with you. It's not even carry it with you, because it's not even, it just comes with you. You bring it with you. Because it's not even like you carry it like as if it was luggage, like as if it had some form of baggage. It doesn't even have any baggage. It's literally just, if anything, it takes you along. It's like being sat on a cloud. You're floating through the environment with it. And if you let it take control, it's going to lead you through. I mean, this is kind of esoteric maybe. If you let that side of you take control, where you just let go with the flow, and the subconscious takes control, all within a certain kind of range, but just don't depend on any external substances or anything like that. That's what I mean. But if you let the subconscious take control and you're fully yourself, that's where the magic happens. You open doors, you make profound connections.